Welcome, everyone. I'm Steve Farrell, the Worldwide Executive Director for Humanities Team, and I'm excited to be here with you for this free program called Living a Life Without Limits, Reconnecting with Your Authentic Self to Unlock Your True Power, Purpose, and Potential. This online program is with acclaimed spiritual teacher, Panache Desai. This is a 90-minute program with a 30-minute live Q&A at the end, so be sure to make note of questions that you have. I'll be coming on live to answer your questions at the end of this 60-minute program with Panache. This program is part of a free online video series with Michael Beckwith called Mastering Reality, Transcend Your Limitations, Access Your Infinite Power, and Become Fully You. Thanks so much for joining us. We've got a really powerful program in store for you. As we get started, I'm going to give Panache a formal introduction. Panache Desai is a contemporary thought leader, best-selling author, and highly sought-after speaker, appearing on Oprah's Super Soul Sunday, at the Omega Institute for Holistic Studies, the Kripalu Center of Yoga and Health, and at the Third Metric conferences hosted by Ariana Huffington and Mika Brzezinski. His best-selling books include Discover Your Soul Signature, a 33-day path to purpose, passion, and joy, which has been translated into 10 languages, and You Are Enough, revealing the soul to discover your power, potential, and possibility. And welcome to the program, Panache. Great to have you with us.
Great to be here with you, brother. Wonderful to be with everyone tuning in from all over the world. My love to everyone.
Fabulous. Well, we've been really looking forward to doing this with you, Panache. And so before we begin the program with Panache, I want to let you know that near the end of this program, we're going to tell you about a brand new 8-week masterclass we've been working on for over a year. Panache Desai and Michael Bernard Beckwith are teaching the program together. This is the first time they've offered a masterclass as faculty together, so be sure to stay tuned. Now, let's jump right in with Panache and get to the important program that we planned for you here during the hour. And Panache, I'm going to just throw this question at you here as we get started. How can we permanently overcome any conditioned beliefs that may be preventing you from harnessing the power of your authentic self?
We're going through a fundamental revision and redefinition of who we are as human beings. And in its most simple description, we're moving out of fear-based states into states of love and expansion. And so this overhaul of who we are, this changing our energy in order to change our life, is shifting us out of an ancient primordial way of being that no longer serves us. So when I examine every human being, I see them as their full potential, as their energy, as their greater expression in the world. And what gets in the way is something that my ancestors used to call samskaras. These are imprints. These are deeply repressed, emotional pieces of content that haven't been embraced. These are suppressed memories. Vibrational transformation liberates those samskaras. And what it does is it liberates the unconscious. The body's the storehouse of the unconscious. It liberates all of that potential. And it allows the fullness of who we are naturally and authentically, the love that we are, the infinite love and light that is the divine, to express through us into this world. At that point, every area of life and living becomes a reflection of that love, Steve. And it's the most amazing thing to witness. People from all over the world every day show up and they're supported in embodying this love, in remembering that they are this love, and in going through this shift out of these fear-based states of being where they are devoid of possibility and potential into moving into love and connection and realizing that intuition and guidance and support is always available to them.
Ooh, yeah. And if only, I'm guessing viewers are asking if it were only so easy, huh? Which is why you stay so busy, is that this can be a fairly challenging process for people, can it? I mean, as simple as as you make it sound and as you express it, people can be challenged just journeying into the fullness of what you just said.
Yeah, I think the biggest challenge of all is that we're fundamentally caught up in this endless loop of trying to fix, heal, change, and improve. And what I've realized is that by doing that, we're invalidating the perfection that already exists inside. So another way to look at it is that everybody is already that which they are seeking. And what we're doing is facilitating the emergence of the limitless nature. We're facilitating the emergence of that potential. It's not that anything's being added to you. It's that the truth of who you are is being revealed, and that we are every day, through the integration of this unconscious content, being supported in revealing more of that truth. As we look at this 10-year phase in human history that we're living in the midst of, we're living in an age of radical personal empowerment. And what does that mean? That means that we're being empowered to live as our authentic selves, to return to being natural again, to forego the conditioning and requirements of being normal and all of the limitations and constraints that come along with being normal. This is why we have such a heightened level of depression and anxiety and suicide in the world, because people aren't being loved and accepted and embraced for who they are. At some point, Steve, we became units of production and consumption instead of just simply being the units of divine expression that we were born to be. And it's returning to that love. It's returning to that truth. It's returning to that simplicity that allows us to really live our highest potential in every moment.
Don't you wish that every parent could find a way of expressing that to their children growing up, and that their children could grow up in the fullness of what you just said?
It'd be wonderful if we could start with ourselves as parents and come into the acceptance of who we are. You know, we were the product of unconscious parenting. And so all of a sudden, the fears, limitations, and restrictions of generations prior to us have been superimposed over this beautiful, pristine consciousness that we were born to be and express. And so as it relates to our children, if we can just meet them where they're at and love them where they're at, it would fundamentally transform their experience of life and living. Why? Because they would never invalidate themselves in the way that you and I invalidated ourselves, because we were constantly receiving the reinforcement externally that we weren't good enough, that there was something wrong with us, that we needed to become somebody, that we needed to produce, we needed to in some way make our mark in the world. And that's because our entire value system on this planet has become completely co-opted and skewed. Our value is inherently present because we are divine beings. Call it whatever you want, source energy, love, however you'd like to articulate it. As I experienced it, we are all a part of this infinite ocean of love and light that is the divine. And the feeling associated with that experience is one of love beyond description. This is where we came from. This is what we are waking up to. This is what we are remembering. And this is what we are here to live. Our waking up means that our children don't have to grow up second guessing their value and their worth. They don't have to grow up second guessing the fact that they're loved and accepted for who they are. So we as parents have the ability to break the cycle now, to wake up in the midst of it all and to transform the experience for ourselves. And in undergoing that shift in who we are, ensuring that they then are raised on this platform of peace and stability.
I know, you know, in your masterclass, you get into your own personal process. We're going to talk, as I mentioned in the introduction, we're going to talk about the masterclass here in a moment. But can you share just a little snippet of how, you know, you grew up in London, and I think maybe it was your grandmother where there was some taste of this, but there were gangs and there were lots of things that I think, as I recall, were quite challenging in your early upbringing. So, I mean, just briefly, how did you move from that into what you're describing now, which is who you've become?
So I have returned to who I always was. My journey began in a meditation room. My grandmother raised me for the first 5 years of my life in an atmosphere of prayer, devotion, and worship. And we literally had a meditation center in our house. And so my formative years, the first 5 years, were spent in that environment. And then subsequently life happens. And that life typically takes the form of some trauma. And then there's the programming and the conditioning that we receive through the school system. So all of a sudden we go from being this unique expression, this individual that's here to bring something into the world that only we can, to all of a sudden being told that we have to conform to these rules and these ideas and these notions that are limited. And so in that, we start to then accumulate this suffering. And so the moment we deviate from authentically who we are, we begin to suffer. And that suffering then compounds and compounds and compounds until eventually one day we have a wake-up call. And so in my life growing up in East London, you know, East London was a jungle. We didn't have gangs, we had homeowners associations. So we weren't, it wasn't delineated by different flags or colors. It was just delineated by different council estates or areas that you lived in. And I got involved in music in my teens. I found after years of being bullied and not fitting in and having a hard time just adjusting to the sensitivity and the empathy that I had, as well as this gift of vibrational transformation, I found my outlet through music. And in London, we have this great history of hijacking the FM dial on either the far left-hand side of the radio or the far right-hand side of the radio, and broadcasting pirate radio out into the city. And so in London, if you're a certain age, you wouldn't listen to conventional radio or pop music, you'd listen to pirate radio. And so one day I turned on the radio and started to hear all this music, and it was drum and bass jungle, and then house and garage and two-step. And I had friends that were DJs that had turntables in their bedrooms, and so I would show up, write lyrics, and begin to perform on the bedroom circuit and record tapes. And then gradually, I got onto a radio station, and subsequently got involved in being very actively involved in that music scene. I was pretty much the first Indian kid in that whole genre, and I loved it. However, at that time, music was very dangerous because the best music was happening in after hours clubs or underground clubs. And typically there was some form of violence associated with what was going on. And this one fateful night, this wake up call, I was out. I was in a local bar actually. And somebody took objection to the fact that I was Indian and in that bar. And three people decided to have an altercation with me. The bouncers came rushing in because they knew who I was and pulled these people off of me. And I wasn't really badly hurt, but I was just kind of shocked that this had happened. And too embarrassed to go home, I went out again. And that night I went to another club. And actually I was emceeing at that club and DJing at that club. And then met up with some friends there, and we went to an after hours place in Brixton. We get to this after hours place, and before I'd gotten there, there'd been a shooting, and we didn't know. So we walk into the club. Next thing, we're in the middle of music and hanging out and having a good time, and the guns come out. And all of a sudden, the Metropolitan Police Department had a special unit that they'd assembled, and they just surrounded the club. And they were escorting people out individually, one by one, because they wouldn't come in. So they didn't want to risk a hostage situation. So you'd get escorted out one by one, you'd get videotaped, and all this is happening live on national television. And my parents are at home watching this. The whole country was watching it. And we come out, and gradually everyone comes out. And the person that I came with wasn't allowed to come out until a couple of hours after I came out. So I had to go find a local place to hang out for this person to come out so I could finally get my ride home. And in that moment, I went to bed that day, woke up the next morning, and I was just done. Like, I had nothing in common with that life anymore, with London anymore, nothing. I realized that whatever that was about had completed inside of me. Like, that version of being Panache Desai had finished. And I sat down the next morning with my mom and had a very transparent and vulnerable and honest conversation with her, and just told her I was living a lie and I was miserable, and that I had to get back to the childhood of my youth. I had to get back to that meditation, that feeling of presence and connection that I had with my grandmother. And so I said, Mum, I'm going to go live like a monk for 6 months. She said, where are you going? India? I said, well, I didn't take it that far. I'm not quite ready for India, but I'll go to America. I had a green card in 1999 that I had to use. It was 2001. So I decided to come out to the US, and I was up in the Catskills and living a very simple monastic life for 6 months. And in that period of time, Steve, all of the gifts and abilities that I had began to come back to me. And the weird thing was, in that ashram, that they already had a guru. So it was very weird for me, because people were having these experiences with me, and they'd say to me, you're my guru. And I'm like, get away from me. Like, I didn't want anything to do with any of this. And to this day, I'm still a very reluctant messenger. But these things happen around me, and it's not that I'm doing anything. And subsequently, the experience that I had in 2002, 2003 helped me kind of make sense of it all. Every moment that we've had in our lives is necessary. We're like instruments. And every defining moment that we've gone through tunes us to a certain way of being, a certain frequency. It gives us a certain place of relatability that we can access other people through. And so my life's journey is the way in which I get to connect with people. It's like we're bridges, we're instruments. And so in 2002, 2003, when I experienced the divine, because I was finally tired of being told I was a messenger and here to do something, I wanted to have the experience. And I just said, listen, whoever you are, whatever you are, God, I need to experience you. Because in the event of experiencing you, I can't share what it is you're asking me to share. I can't look at somebody in their eyes and tell them that everything's going to be okay if they've just lost their child. I can't do it. I have to experience what you are. And in that moment of that sincere yearning, everything inside of me began to come up. All of the repressed emotion, the suppressed memories, everything began to move through me. And it culminated in this experience of this infinite ocean of energy, the most brilliant light you've ever seen. And the feeling associated with this energy was one of just love beyond description. And in that moment, I was shown why my life was the way that it was, why everything had happened in the way that it did. And I also began to see into the future and began to see not just my future, but humanity's eventual destiny, which is that we're going to eventually evolve into this way of being that is love and loving expression exclusively. We're going to go from having this relationship with physical, dense matter into once again having a relationship with who we are as light, love, joy, possibility, potential. And that's what we're in the midst of now. And so everything in our life, nothing happens by accident. And the other blessing is that thanks to my experience in music, being on stage and performing in front of thousands of people, now being on stage and allowing the divine to flow through me and expressing whatever flows through me is now so natural to me. So again, every single thing, every point of experience, every point on our journey is a necessary milestone, ingredient, or golden breadcrumb that is leading up to us finally trusting and surrendering into our limitless nature, which is love.
Oh, very powerful personal story. Yeah, thank you for sharing that here, being so disclosing, Panache. Beautiful. Well, let me go down a little deeper here into some of the things that we're talking about. So how do you end the search for external acceptance
Well,
and
the first
approval
thing,
by connecting internally to your natural power and potential?
I love that. So the first thing that we have to do is realize that no matter how much we turn ourselves inside out for other people, the love and the acceptance that we're looking for is never going to come from them, right? You are the right size container for the love that you have to share, which means that only you can really receive the love that you have to offer, right? Because you're unique in yourself. So what you are as a human being is a unique expression of divinity. You're a unique expression of this infinite love and light. That's why you're here. That's why your journey has been so amazing. That's why you've chosen everything to go through that you've gone through. So when you begin to live with this absence of need of approval and acceptance, and you just simply realize that most of us have been alive long enough now to know that it's never coming from outside of us, right? At some point, we just have to let go of that expectation because it isn't, right? And by virtue of the fact that we're here, it means that we're ready to embrace this limitless part of us. We're ready to embrace this mastery of who we are. Well, how does that happen? By first remembering that every human experience, that as human beings, we're self-enclosed units of experience. So for example, the love that we're feeling in a relationship is the love that we're feeling inside of ourselves. It's just that because we don't value ourselves or we don't feel good enough, we project that love onto somebody else. And then we make them the source of it, even though they're not. And this is all that's happening. We are constantly either projecting or reflecting. That's all that's going on. And so when you realize that we're living inside of this giant simulation, we really are living in the matrix. It's really quite wonderful once you break free of all your personal stuff and you realize that you have this infinite potential. You can begin to break free of the need to be approved of, accepted, and loved. Why? Because you're authentic. Your vibrational state activates everything that's unconscious in everyone that you meet. Your being who you are, your presence is catalytic. When you show up, all of a sudden people begin to experience their sadness or their anger or their fear or whatever it is that's inauthentic about them. So your purpose here is to disrupt the status quo. It's not to fit in and belong. Were you to fit in and belong, you would render your role useless. And as it is through the conditioning and the programming and the trauma, you've been normalized. So what are we doing? We're not being healed. We're not being fixed. We're not being changed. We're not being improved. We're returning to our natural state of being, our essential self. We're returning to our authentic expression. And in that authentic expression, you realize that everything arises from within. You break the habit of looking outside of yourself for things that you can only source from inside of you. And you begin to turn your attention to the only space that can authentically come from. In this, you begin to give up the need for approval. You have the courage to say what needs to be said. You have the courage to live how you're here to live. You have the courage to give up the need to fit in and belong. You have the courage to finally receive what you've always wanted, which is this infinite experience and expression of love that is ever present and available to all human beings. This is how we evolve beyond this codependent nature that we have with our enlightenment, with our mastery, with our abundance, with our health, with whatever it is. And this is how we break free of it. We realize that the physical material manifest world is the illusion, that we're interpreting reality through the lens of our five senses. However, there's a whole spectrum of experience beyond the lens of the five senses. And at some point we have to evolve beyond this individual way of being, this created self, to know ourselves as the authentic, essential self once more. Because in that, we can then begin to open up to the full spectrum of human experience. There's more potential in the unknown than there ever will be in the known. There's more potential at the state of that superconscious than there is at the conscious. And so transcendence, going beyond the human experience, going beyond need, going beyond attachment, is one of the ways in which I've had the pleasure of supporting individuals like all of you beautiful souls that are here in coming into this radical personal empowerment that has been prophesized, that has been spoken of, that ancient cultures and traditions have pointed to as the culmination of the beginning of this golden age of being human, where we literally embody the highest light and love that we can. We become luminous beings. We remember our luminous nature, and our planet returns to harmony and balance.
Whoa, well, you're taking us on quite a journey here, Panache. I'm sure I'm speaking for viewers. Really stunning. But let's go down here even a little deeper still. How do you stop settling for less and begin experiencing the true abundance and real fulfillment that is your birthright?
So it's beautifully stated question, because the answer is in the question itself. So our natural state of being is abundance. Here's what's happened. We have been all of a sudden born into this world where people are pretending not to be themselves. Everyone around you is delivering an Oscar-winning performance of suffering. They're delivering an Oscar-winning performance of survival. They're delivering an Academy Award-winning performance of scarcity and lack. But what's really happening here is God is revealing more of God to itself. Now, what does that mean? That means that it's not that we have to, in some way, make something happen. It's that, again, we're returning to the abundance that exists at the level of the soul, that exists at the level of who we are. All that's happened, Steve, is that at some point through the course of our life, we've become disconnected from ourselves on a conscious level, right? We can never be permanently disconnected, but on a conscious level, we've forgotten that we have this access to abundance. And then we've gone on this mission through our work, our career, our creative expression, our company, to prove that we are abundant, that we are good enough, that we are loving, that we are whatever. All of that energy is energy that is used to further distance us from the abundance that is our natural state of being. And I always say this, like nothing in nature needs to go to an abundance workshop, right? Squirrels are not in this seminar, right? A squirrel is never doubting that it's going to get a nut and it's going to be able to save nuts and accumulate nuts and make sure that it can feed its family, right? So this notion doesn't exist in scarcity, doesn't exist in nature, right? There's no scarcity in nature, right? So all we have to do is look at nature. As human beings, we've forgotten that we're a part of nature. We've started to exist in this space of false superiority that in some way we believe that we're separate, apart, and different than nature, that we have some control or governance over nature, and we don't. And all it takes is a hurricane or a tsunami or an earthquake or a volcano to remind us that we have to respect nature, because in any moment, nature can lovingly and gently nudge us back into the humility that we need to have to be the careful, conscious custodians of her and all of her creatures. And so abundance is restored by unveiling and uncovering the abundance that already exists within you. Right? Some of you are like, well, I was born into, an underprivileged background. I didn't finish high school, da da da. And here's what I've discovered. In working with millions of people from all over the world, those are not the parameters around abundance. It's about how you feel every day. It's about how you show up and how you choose to live every day. Are you embodying states of love and appreciation and joy? If you are, you're abundant. Naturally, then, from that state of being, you'll have an expression, a business. What is a business? Businesses are about loving people. It's very simple. I have business friends that have done very well. They call it adding value. What is it? You're just innovating new ways to love people and to be of service. That's all it is. And the more you're of service and the more you love people, the more you're successful. It's not rocket science, right? So again, the more we are in that state of love, appreciation, and acceptance and joy, the more then we will create something that will be an expression or an emanation of that, right? Like you with Humanities Team, right? It's a not-for-profit, but it's the same thing. What do? You love people. You're offering them access to the love that they are, to the divinity that they are, right? And that's how it works. So everything then becomes an expression of your own authentic state of being. And at that point, it becomes effortless. Like I get to wake up every day and be Panache Desai. That's it. And through being Panache Desai, I get to then take care of my family. That's how it works. Why? Because I'm no longer in opposition to myself. And in no longer in being in opposition to myself, something beyond that which I am flows through me for the benefit of all human beings, to alleviate their suffering, their scarcity, their lack, their separation, to usher them into this more expanded way of being, into this more natural way of living. And in that happening, their lives take off. So abundance is naturally who you are. And living an abundant life is expressing that natural, authentic state of being in every moment through whatever medium or mode or expression you choose to engage in.
Yeah, you have, Panache, such a fresh and powerful way of describing this conscious journey. I'm sure you've heard people say that before. Okay, so I'm going to go again, just a little deeper here in one area. So how can people discover how changing your personal energy can have an extraordinary effect on how you live your life?
It's a great question. So everything is energy. Everything is an energy. The ancient yogis and mystics understood that the fundamental nature of reality is energy. Quantum physics is now beginning to prove what ancient naked Indian men sitting under trees knew for thousands of years, hundreds of thousands of years, that we're beginning to prove what our ancients knew as the truth in a quantifiable way. So when I sat down with Oprah and we had the conversation about change your energy, change your life, it was the first time on that platform anywhere in metaphysics or new thought or new age where we introduced this notion of energy. Up until that point, it was all about the mind. You have to change your thoughts. You have to shift the way you're thinking. You have to shift your beliefs. You have to engage in transformation solely at the level of the mind. And I have to say that it just doesn't work. We've been doing it now for 40 years and engaging in this thing at the level of the mind, and it doesn't make a difference. Why? Because we're vibrational beings. So it goes back to this. When we figure out that we are vibration, energy, and frequency, and we're living in a vibrational reality, then we begin to discover that our reality in every moment is mirroring back to us our own state of being. And the more we're able to be in that state of love, joy, and appreciation, change our energy, the more we change our lives. And I've seen things happen, Steve, that are out of the realm of what is possible for people. People getting up out of wheelchairs, people seeing again, people having on the verge of complete financial collapse, moving into alignment again, turning around their financial situation, people turning around their lives by changing their energy, shifting their vibrational state, and up-leveling their experience. And how that happens is through realizing that transformation is happening at this emotional layer. So who we really are at the level of our authentic self is the soul, right? And that's subtle energy, right? That's who we are. The layer beyond that is the emotional layer. The layer beyond that is the mind. Then there's the physical body. Then there's reality at large, right? So transformation happens at the level of the emotional body. It happens at the level of emotion. If we can actually turn our attention toward our emotion and how we're feeling and transform there, then we shift our neurology, we shift our biology, and then we experience a shift in reality. And this is now beginning to be quantified and measured by my friends out there that are measuring states of consciousness when we're in meditation, measuring what happens when we're in states of love to our genetic expression, right? We're beginning to see that our state of being is what's informing this hardware that's the body, and then in turn is being emanated out beyond the body into the world. So when you change your energy, you change your life. When you shift yourself at the feeling level, when you shift your state of being, you shift your entire experience of being human.
Yes, you do. And this, again, you've got a really fresh and powerful way of sharing this. I'm reminded of Wisdom and Conversations with God and Abraham Hicks, where in a slightly different way, really the same thing is said, that we're attracting who we are and what we're visioning, which is why it's so important. You call it being vibrational beings, and why it's so important to really do the work and live in this place that we want to live, so that we manifest the life that we want to manifest.
That's exactly right, because it's not a product of our mental process. If it were, we'd already be there by now. You know, it's waking. My deepest wish for everyone is for them to have what they have always wanted to have for themselves. But how that comes into being is by realizing how reality works. And what we don't have access to anymore is how reality works. We've been bombarded by content and information, but content and information leads to adaptation. It doesn't lead to transformation. Unless there's a shift in our state of being or a shift at the level of feeling or energy, transformation has not occurred. So this is why it's important that people are here at this time, because they've done everything. They've done every seminar, they've done every program, and they're sitting here wondering, okay, well, how is this any different? Well, it's different because we're actually going to support you in transforming at the level of which transformation occurs. In ancient India, they understood that vibration was the most important thing. Sanskrit is a vibrational language. Yoga is a vibrational exercise. It's not just a physical exercise, right? It's not what it's become now, which is go and sweat on your neighbor and become stretchy, right? That's not what it is. It was actually a medium and a vessel through which you could up-level your frequency and your energy. So chanting in Sanskrit, meditation, yoga, all of these practices are here to support us in shifting our state of being, shifting our vibration. Why? Because the divine exists at the level of subtle energy. So what we have to do is undergo this metamorphosis out of the density, out of the matter, out of this attachment to the physical, into the non-physical, into the superconscious. And that's where all of our solutions, our intuition, our guidance, all of our power resides. And so every practice that's a part of my cultural heritage, if it's still taught in its original essence, has the capacity to transform your energy. And this is an ancient science and technology that we've had now for a couple of 100,000 years, if not longer. And so this is why I'm so excited, because it's the power of a lineage. It's the power of blessings. It's the power of grace. It's how transformation unfolds.
Yes, it does. So let's go to a really important question. You talked about up-leveling your energy. So Panache, how can you develop the ability to meet any situation from an empowered place, one that is balanced, peaceful, and calm?
The first thing to do is to remember that you yourself created your experience. And I know that's a mouthful, but I'm going to explain it to you. You are here on assignment. And that assignment is to restore harmony and balance in the human experience. How that happens is through your willingness to return to your natural state of being. What that means is everything that's happening in your life isn't happening by accident. That you yourself have architected your experience of reality. So you are the creator experiencing what has already been created. And this phenomenon can be best illustrated through near-death experiences. So for example, when somebody has a near-death experience and they go through the whole process of transitioning and they go through the life review, what are they reviewing? They're reviewing the life that they created for themselves to experience in order to evolve into love, in order to remember the love that they are, in order to remember the light that they are, in order to remember what's important, in order to wake up to the divinity that they are. And so if that's the end of it, then we're living the middle of it. Wherever we are in life, we're living whatever version of that we're living right now. Now, the blessing is once you get that you've created all of this, you're no longer a victim. That means that every piece of trauma, abuse, suffering, everything that you're going through is a part of you returning to harmony. Life isn't even happening to you. Life is happening as you. In oneness, life is as you are. And our suffering and our trauma and all of these things that we go through, we transform by waking up in the midst of them. In waking up in the midst of all of this content, we ensure that no human being ever need go through that again. This is why you are so compassionate, so courageous, and so loving. It's why you are here. And so the blessing of your life is that you not only bring into harmony everything that you need to on behalf of yourself, but by diving into the depth of density, of trauma, of scarcity, of suffering, of limitation, of whatever you wish to call it, separation, and by waking up in the midst of it, you become a bridge for every other human being out of it. That is the gift and blessing of your life. You are the universe evolving itself through this individual form. That is your purpose. You are God revealing more of God. You are love revealing more love in the world. This is why you are here. And this is why you've gone through every single thing that you've gone through. That's why we don't have to fix, heal, and change it or improve it. We need to begin to accept it. The acceptance of it creates an alignment with it. The alignment with it allows you to begin to bring your love, who you are, to that. And that provides the aspects of you that are angry or sad or afraid to cultivate, to be integrated. So we're here to cultivate an inclusive relationship with ourselves. Yoga literally means union. We're on a path of union. We're unifying with ourselves. We're merging back with ourselves. We're embracing with the truth of who we are. But that happens through inclusion. It happens through acceptance. It doesn't happen through fixing, healing, clearing, cleansing, and changing.
Oh, absolutely stunning, Panache. Thank you. Wow. So what a program this has been, and I know I'm speaking for viewers, so thank you for that. Just amazing. I was feeling deeply into that, and I know all of our viewers are also. So and let me share here related to this. So we're going to send out an email to the program page that we're about to go to here as you're watching this program. So you can check your email and you'll see a link to a program page that we're about to talk to. And then in the morning, we're going to send out another email that'll have a replay link of this program. It gives us a little time to clean up, front and back of the program. So you'll get that replay link in the morning, and you can watch this program as often as you like. So of course, it's a free program. So Panache, thank you. Wow, really stunning. And I'm guessing that we have a lot of viewers that are very captivated. This is my life work. I've been doing this full time since 2003, 17 years here in Humanities Team. And that was an encapsulation that was stunning, really, about our conscious journey. So if you want to go deeper into this wisdom that Panache just shared, there's an opportunity we're gonna tell you about, which is this. I mentioned that there's a masterclass that we've been working on now for over a year, but with Panache Desai, Michael Bernard Beckwith, and we're going to reveal this exciting new program to you now. So let me go ahead and share screen here. Okay, and here it is. You are limitless. Discover how to step into a whole new level of empowerment and effectiveness in everything you do. So this is the masterclass that we're revealing. It's an 8-week masterclass. It's with Panache Desai and Michael Bernard Beckwith. We spend over a year creating these programs. Let me share why. First of all, we're a global nonprofit. Humanities Team is a nonprofit based in the United States. About half our participants and viewers are outside of the United States. About half are in the US. And as a nonprofit, we're aiming slightly different than the for-profits that are in the transformational education space. We're not so much aiming at just revenue and profit, we're aiming at evolutionary content. And this one was dreamed up quite some time ago with Panache and Michael. And they worked closely with us to develop this. In fact, I want to just give Panache credit. He kind of went in the lead here to talk about how we could unfold this program over 8 weeks to bring in something very powerful that Panache had never done before and that Michael had never done before. And that's what we're revealing to you now. So excuse our excitement after a year of working to put this together. You are limitless. Discover how to step into a whole new level of empowerment and effectiveness in everything you do. So now here's what is just a quick encapsulation of the program. It's 16 video modules. It's an 8-week program. There are many bonuses, which we'll take you through here in a moment. And there are 4 live mentoring sessions. So in the live mentoring sessions, there are 2 with Panache, 2 with Michael, and they come in for 60 minutes on Zoom program. You're watching this through Zoom webinar right now where you can see us on camera and we can't see you. And the mentoring, we're using Zoom program. So we can see each other. And if you can also just post your questions, but if you want, you can come on camera and you're actually talking directly to Panache and you're talking directly with Michael. So, and this is actually one of the things that people share is most powerful and important to them is the mentoring, where they can come in and ask questions and make comments about these 16 modules. There also are PDFs and MP3s or transcripts. So when you're not in front of your PC, when you're in your favorite chair, you're sitting outside, or you're traveling by car or airplane, you can either read or listen to the programs as well. So a lot of times those are upgrades in programs like this. It's included in our standard program. Now, Panache, I want to come over to you because just to get any inspirations or comments you want to make here as we unveil this program. You, as I mentioned, you kind of went in the lead here of talking about how we might put this together, and we're super excited about it.
We're on the verge of an evolutionary leap, and the kind of impetus behind bringing this program to you at this point was through this wonderful relationship that Michael Beckwith and I have formed throughout the years, where we both share this love of God, this revelation of the divinity within us, and we both have this ability to allow ourselves to relax into that flow, to fundamentally shift our circumstance and our experience of being human. Every single one of us has a limitless potential. And we're at a point now where we're beginning to question existing structures, existing ways of being empowered. And what we wanted to do is provide you a way to meet you where you are in this moment and expand you lovingly into the fullness of you that we see when we observe you. Because the truth is, right now, the answer to every surface level problem that you have going on is to return to the source, is to return to the truth, is to return to the light, the power and the presence that lives within you. Both Michael and I have had experiences of awakening. His awakening came in the form of a recurring dream. Mine came in the form of a direct experience of the divine itself. That awakening fundamentally altered the way in which we are living our lives. And it is our heartfelt intention and invitation to all of you that you undergo that same awakening and metamorphosis into your magnificence, into your light, into your brilliance. You embody that on behalf of yourself, your families, your friends, and most importantly of all, the world at large.
Yes, and this is collaborative teaching. One of the things that we like to do in Humanities Team is create these collaborative teaching programs where 1 + 1, in this case Panache and Michael, doesn't equal 2, it equals 5 or 10 or something more. And as Panache mentioned, there's often a unique thing in the faculty that we choose. Panache and Michael were a natural for this because they have worked so closely over the years, and they're great friends. So there's real power and cohesion. There's a natural arc in this program, and these are the things we endeavor to create in the master classes that we bring to market here in Humanities Team. So I'm going to just scroll this program here page. I'm not going to read any of the page. I invite you to come back and do that. As I mentioned, we're going to send you a link to this program page here while you're watching the program, and I invite you to come back and spend some real quality time here and read carefully all of what's here. There's a lot. There also are powerful videos that you'll want to take in. Um, and then after you spend some quality time on the page, you can decide if you're getting that in or yes to become involved in this program. You can see here just some of the benefits that are outlined in the program. I mentioned videos. This video here is amazing that describes this program put together by Tim Noe on our team. Another video that talks a little bit about collaborative teaching and how we settled on this process that we use, that we employ in Humanities team of bringing faculty together that can just really hit it out of the park on a particular topic such as this one, You Are Limitless. Okay, so the first part of the program are these 8 modules with Michael Beckwith, and his first module is Awakening. And then in his second module, Your Real ID. These are 2 modules a week. So it's 16 modules, 8 weeks, 2 modules a week. That's the first week. In Michael's module 3, Your Destiny Call. Help, hello, eternal loving presence. That's a neat way to describe help, isn't it? Module 5, the trust factor. Module 6, the night shall shine as the day. Module 7, self-love, self-appreciation, and self-compassion. And then module 8, live in the realm of possibility. And then we come into Panache's 8 modules, and Panache might want to share briefly here for his first module, Rejecting Preconceptions.
So, as I shared, we were born into this world as an emanation of absolute love and potential. However, at some point, we experienced some form of trauma, decided we weren't safe, and then subsequently went on to receive programming and conditioning that began to distance us away from our natural state of being. And so the first layer of unveiling is in breaking free of all of these preconceptions, all of these expectations, these false notions that have been superimposed over the brilliant and pristine consciousness that you are. Accessing vulnerability, for me, vulnerability is the antidote to egoic existence. Whenever I'm willing to sit down and have the courage to tell the truth about how I'm feeling, and I'm willing to express whatever's going on in every moment, I'm free. I no longer need to adapt or deny or in some way try and bypass the feeling. In meeting the feeling as it's unfolding, I'm able to allow it to flow through me. And everything is, within a few moments, restored to a state of harmony and balance. Module 11 is acknowledging support. So we are right now being cheered on by the entire universe. And we've had incredible mentors play unbelievable roles for us. And I talk about a specific mentor that I've had in my life that I love dearly, who has shown up at a specific time in my life to guide me into who I am today and to usher me into this experience through her own unique experience of being human, life and living, and her own accomplishments and ways of being. And so this is about recognizing the power of mentorship and how we begin to evolve into receiving the help that we are asking for, because it shows up as God, as the divine, expressing itself through so many different ways, through the guru principle. Because if you're really open, you realize that it's only ever God that's speaking to you. And then revealing the truth. So revealing the truth is basically getting to this place where we begin to realize that we are living in the matrix, that who we really are is being reflected back to us, that we can begin to evolve into the fullness of who we are and begin to reveal this essence, this powerful essence of who we are at our core. And so we have to move beyond all of this stuff that's been projected onto us. Like, we have to start to evolve beyond our parents' version of our lives. We have to start to evolve beyond society's version of our lives. We have to start to explore beyond our industry or genre's version of life and living to get to the truth of who we are. And so this is how we begin to wake up and question, which is something that I feel like we could all use right now. Finding our own truth in the midst of what we're being told, finding what resonates with us, and coming from a place of acceptance and connection to our own heart. Module 13, harmony is our essential state of being. So, for example, your mother-in-law comes over, triggers you, says, I don't know why my son married you, your food tastes awful, you know the drill, and all of a sudden you get activated. In that activation, you're being given an invitation to return to harmony. And how we do that is by beginning to recognize that life is unfolding as we are, that all of these external forms are actually external forms of inner incompletion that need to be embraced. And the more we can accept them, the more we can embrace them, the more we can learn to not run away from them and not defend, but simply recognize that we're being shown an aspect of our unconscious, the more we're able to be empowered, to be peaceful, to be harmonious in the presence of whoever we're with, wherever we are, and what's unfolding in the world. The unfamiliar is something that we are all very afraid of, but as a mystic, we're exploring the mystery, right? We're exploring the unknown. For most people, God is an unknown. God exists outside of the known, outside of the understandable, outside of the familiar. And so when we speak about the unfamiliar, we're speaking about what exists beyond the edge of your comfort zone. That right now, you are all renovating this wonderful prison that you're living inside of. So you're fixing, healing, changing, and improving. And what you're doing is upgrading your toilet paper, or your prison bars. However, you're still in jail. And the familiar is the jail that we live inside of. Now, for some of us, it's a beautiful jail. However, nonetheless, we're limited. But what would happen if we could have the courage to open the door, to realize the door was never locked, and step outside into the freedom that exists beyond the known? The unknown and the unfamiliar is the friend of the mystic. It's the friend of the one who really wants to transform. It's our greatest ally. And so in leaving behind the familiar, you are then able to go on this amazing adventure of revelation of truth. Yeah. And then module 15. So sometimes we have these false notions around enlightenment, around what it means to truly excel. So some of you here have excelled material wealth to a degree that's, unquantifiable. Some of you have gone to these peak states of enlightened consciousness. However, once you get to those places, you very quickly begin to realize that that's just the beginning of a deeper journey. And it's a deeper journey of integration. It's a deeper journey of embodiment. It's a deeper journey of sustainability. For myself, I moved into such a state of transcendence that I was barely tethered to the human experience. I literally had the choice of leaving my body and taking samadhi consciously. And as a result of everything that was happening, I chose to remain here to embody that potential now fully and completely. And so we all reach this pinnacle of experience. And it's that pinnacle of experience that then leads us onto a deeper path of integration, a deeper path of sustainability, a deeper way of then expressing who we are in the world. And then finally, my favorite subject, living in the flow. What would happen if you could allow the universe to fully flow through you? What would happen if you finally got to such a place of trust and surrender that you allowed the divine to fully express through you? What would happen if you sourced every choice and every decision from peace? What would happen if in this moment you realized that this invitation that you're receiving is a part of that flow? Where would your life be a year from now, 3 years from now, or 5 years from now? This is the power of living in flow. This is the power of returning to flow, because our natural state of being is to flow with life, is to flow with what's unfolding. And so I'm beyond excited to be able to share all of this with you.
Ray, wow. Wow, wow, wow. Okay, Panache, now I know you love to coach and mentor. You do a lot of that. So and you've got two 60-minute live mentoring programs here. Do you want to just share kind of how you do that and what kinds of things you're looking forward to doing with people going through the program?
So I've had the great good fortune and blessing of being able to mentor 7 people personally. And the reason why I only keep it at 7 is because I'm deeply involved in every area of their lives. Most of these people run multinational corporations. They're very busy. They're artists, they're actors, actresses. They're out in the world in a very busy way. And so my role is to support them in embodying these states of love and connection, embodying these states of peace, in making everything in their life a reflection of who they really are. And so when I mentor people, it's an opportunity to really support you in returning to your natural state of being, in guiding you in making every area of your life a reflection of that full potential. And so I can't wait to share that same mentoring experience that I deliver to these 7 people with every single person that signs up for this program. I really believe in you. I love you and you matter to me. And I can't wait to see what happens as a result of our time together.
Wow, and I want to share too. So this is in its own private practice, 7 people that are going through it at a particular time. So this is an opportunity to come in and have coaching and mentoring with Panache, which is a pretty rare and thing and a fantastic opportunity. So And again, this is actually one of the things we do post masterclass surveys and get feedback from people going through. And these mentoring programs are one of the things that people most enjoy about our programs, because it allows you to go deep on particular questions and comments, things that you want to get to with the faculty, where you're one-on-one with them. Okay, so let's get to some of the, talk about the rest of the program here briefly. We do have a private Facebook community. So community is also something that's very important. It's wonderful when you're going through these programs such as this, to have colleagues that are posting, sharing questions and comments in the Facebook community with you. So there's a lot of interaction. Most of us don't have neighbors or even family members often who are conscious. So it's a real treat when you're in a virtual community like this and you can share deeply about things that you love and enjoy and that inspire you, and also questions that you have about the material. There are, as I mentioned earlier, these PDF transcripts and MP3 audios. So we know that people aren't always going to be in front of their computer as they're taking a master class such as this. So you're going to be out in your living room chair, or on your back deck or front deck, or in your car, or on an airplane, or on a cruise ship, or wherever. And the transcripts and the MP3 audios allow you to read or listen to the material when you're not in front of your computer. Oftentimes in this industry, these are the second or third upgrade. So, and it is included with the bonuses in just the standard offering that we're going to get to here in just a moment, where we cover everything. Okay, now the bonuses. So there's this the first bonus I'm going to share is this special limited time bonus. It's this live inner circle virtual gathering. Okay, and this is with Panache. This is the night before the program starts. So this is Monday, July 13th at 5 o'clock Pacific is when it starts. And you can think of this as like if you're getting ready to go out on a hike, and the group that's going on the hike is going to talk a little bit before heading out on this journey about things that you might particularly enjoy, things to keep in mind, ways to maybe propel yourself to the fullness of this journey that we're getting ready to embark on. So these are all of the kinds of things that we do during this 60-minute live virtual gathering. That's the night before the program begins. So it's Monday, July 13th. Now, for this particular bonus, you need to register by midnight Pacific tomorrow night. So this is one of the reasons we're sending out a link to the program page, so you can come back and spend some quality time on the page here today and also tomorrow before midnight Pacific. If you do decide to go through the program, this is a bonus that you won't want to miss. Real special time with Panache and me the night before the program begins. Okay, other bonuses that are part of this program. First, Masterclass bonus number 1. So it's called the Infinite Evolution Guided Meditation Collection. And this is with Michael and with Panache. And you'll see, you can come back and read about these 5 different guided meditations here. Activating your evolutionary potential, discover your infinite nature, consciously dreaming the dream of a new life, your soul's evolution, discover your infinite nature, and then igniting boundless receiving. Okay, those are the 5 guided meditations that are part of that bonus. And the next bonus, it's called Mind Fast Soul Feast. It's a 21-day guided practice to soul awakening and inner fulfillment MP3 audio program with Michael Beckwith. So a 21-day guided practice. And then bonus number 3 here is the secret to discovering your elusive life purpose. This is a downloadable ebook with Panache. Okay, the next bonus package is called An Abundant Life, and this is an early registration bonus package. Okay, and the first bonus in this one is Create the Life You Crave. 4 simple, powerful steps to shed toxic self-doubt and find your true self. And it's a 4-module video mini course with Panache Desai. And you can come back and read here about these 4 modules that are part of this mini course. And then finally, in the early registration bonus series is this bonus number 2. It's called Harmonizing Prosperity from True Abundance. And it's a 2-hour MP3 audio workshop with Michael Bernard Beckwith. So lots of bonuses. People enjoy these. They often are foundational to the program that you're going through. And people say sometimes they help propel or accelerate their journey during the masterclass as well. So we, I mentioned we spend about a year putting all of these things together. Okay, and you can come back and read testimonials and things about this incredible faculty. Michael Bernard Beckwith, Panache Desai, and what a pleasure and privilege it's been working with them for about a year on this program. Okay, so here's what is all included. It's $297. So for the program, I'll come back and cover these other options in just a second. But so it's $297 for all of this. The 8 video modules that are with Michael Bernard Beckwith, the 8 video modules with Panache Desai, 16 MP3 audios, so you can listen to the program wherever you like, and then these 16 PDF transcripts. You can read the program from wherever you might like. The 4 live group mentoring sessions that are 2 each with Michael and Panache. They're 60 minutes each. And then the exclusive membership to our private Facebook community. And then you can see the bonus content that we just went through, the special masterclass bonuses, the early registration bonus, and then this special limited time live Inner Circle virtual gathering. That's on Monday, July 13th, beginning at 5 Pacific. And the program launches the next day on Tuesday, July 14th. So here then are the 3 options for this program. The full program access for $297, which includes all of those things that we were just reviewing. All of that stuff is in the $297. Some people like to include this program in their resume or as part of their professional journey, as they want to refer to the class that they just went through in a professional context. And we offer this completion certificate that's $347. And then finally, this is a brand new option. Okay, so this is probably the first time you've seen this. It's called Humanity Stream, and accelerate your conscious evolution through our online masterclasses. You can click then here on the stream catalog, and when you click on the stream catalog, you'll see all of the masterclasses that are part of this option. So in this option, that works out to about $50 a month. It's $597 as a one-time payment, and then for 12 months you get to stream all of the masterclasses that are part of this program. So be sure to check that out. It's a cool thing because it allows you to go through this masterclass here with Michael and Panache, but allows you to access and stream all of these other masterclasses over 12 months as well. So if you want to really slingshot yourself on your conscious journey, consider the Humanity Stream option. It's a real cost-effective way of going through lots of masterclasses all at once. And of course, we have all of our normal 10-day full money back guarantee and things. So again, there's a lot more here on this site. So I invite you to come back and check it out here tonight and tomorrow. And I'm going to come over live, but before I do here, Panache, any closing comments, call to action, anything you want to share as we wrap this program?
Every single one of you has had a calling to actualize your potential, to embody it and to express it in this world. And yet the avenue through which that comes into being has remained ever elusive to you. Michael and I have created a complete suite of modules, content, information, and energy to support you in undergoing that fundamental revision and redefinition of who you are. And so I ask you to invite the call. If you're tired of the struggle, the suffering, the limitation, tired of all the information and content that only gets you so far, and you're ready to finally embody the experience of who you really are, then I can't wait to meet you, to support you, to hold you by the hand, to carry you on my shoulders if I have to help you in accessing the fullness of who you are.
A Sherpa that takes us up to the top of Mount Everest here. so carrying us on and I know you do that with your students, the people that you work with, Panache. So beautiful. I'll throw the word Sherpa out of make sure we get to that mountaintop. Every single one of the people going through. Panache, thank you. What a total privilege and pleasure it's been working with you for a year to create this. And all of you viewers, some of you won't go through. I know you got a ton out of this program, And many of you will go through, and we look forward to seeing you. Michael, Panache, and I on Tuesday, July 14th. Panache and I the night before, on Monday, July 13th. So we look forward to being with you. And I'm coming over live now to answer your questions. Thanks for being with us here during this program.